Ladies and gentlemen, please stand. Their Excellencies, the Right Honourable Dame Patsy Reddy, Governor-General of New Zealand, and Sir David Gascoigne.
E ngai hua ka te motu e piki mai rā, ka ke mai rā, nau mai rā, i runga i te reo rāhiri a te manukura o te aroa e. Haere mai, haere mai, haere mai rā. A moa mai rā, te unga wairua ka i runga i a koutou i te rānei e. Nau mai rā, haere mai rā. Tēnei rā, te mai o hanei ki a koutou e. Whakatau rā.
Mai e, a mai e a. Mai e te tipua, mai e te tawhito, mai e te kāhi o kariki. Tai e a, tai e a. Tai e a tēnei momo, tai e a tēnā momo. Whakamānawa tia, te toki atu, whakamānawa tia, te toki aro. Oi whiwhia te tohu, oi rawe a te tohu, oi tā maua te tohu, taumata rautia te tohu. Haumi e, hui e, tai ki e.
I ngā mana, i ngā reo, i ngā iwi o ngā hoe whā. Tēnei aku mihi mahana ki a koutou. Kia ora tātou katoa. Nau mai haere mai rā ki te whare kawana. Distinguished guests, ladies and gentlemen, warm greetings to you all and welcome to Government House. I specifically acknowledge the Honourable Andrew Little, Minister of the Crown, Andrew Kibble-White, Chief Executive of the Department of Prime Minister and Cabinet, Michael Webster, Secretary and Registrar of the Order of New Zealand Merit and the Queen's Service Order, our kaumātua, Professor Piri Shasha, and our kuia, Te Rupawai Higgins. Tēnā koutou. It's a great pleasure to host this investiture ceremony for 15 honour recipients in the presence of their family and friends, and to formally recognise the contributions they have made to our country. As Governor-General, I have the authority and privilege to hold this investiture on behalf of Her Majesty Queen Elizabeth, the Queen of New Zealand, and to confer the honours to which each recipient is entitled. Ladies and gentlemen, as each person is honoured, I invite you to join me in celebrating and thanking them for their service to our country. Mr. Hewitt Humphrey will now summon the recipients and read a citation for each one.
Your Excellency, to receive the honour of knighthood and the insignia of a Knight Companion of the New Zealand Order of Merit, the Right Honourable Sir Simon William English of Wellington for services to the state. The Right Honourable Sir William English was the 39th Prime Minister of New Zealand from December 2016 to October 2017, during which time he focused on trade relations, the development of social investment, and new ways of the Crown working with Maori. Sir William was first elected as the Member of Parliament for Wallace, now the Clutha Southland electorate, in 1990, and was MP for Clutha Southland until standing as a list-only MP in 2014. His first ministerial roles were as Minister for Crown Health Enterprises and Associate Minister of Education in early 1996, later being appointed Minister of Health that same year, and then Minister of Finance and to the portfolio of Treasurer in 1999. He led the National Party in opposition from October 2017 until stepping down from politics in February 2018, having been previously leader of the opposition from 2001 until 2003. Following the 2008 election, he became Deputy Prime Minister in the Fifth National Government and was appointed Minister of Infrastructure for a single term of Parliament and Minister of Finance. As Finance Minister from 2008 until 2016, Sir William oversaw one of the fastest growing economies in the developed world, steering New Zealand through the global financial crisis and the Christchurch earthquakes, and ensuring the Crown accounts were in a strong financial position.
Arise, Sir William.
Your Excellency, to receive the insignia of a Companion of the New Zealand Order of Merit, Mr. Bryce Johnson of Upper Hutt, for services to conservation and the environment. Bryce Johnson was the first director of the National Executive of New Zealand Acclimatisation Societies, later redesignated as CEO of the New Zealand Fish and Game Council. He was instrumental in establishing the New Zealand Landcare Trust. He was the architect of the Conservation Law Reform Act 1990 and contributed to the Resource Management Act 1991, advocating for the provision of water conservation orders and the protection of wetlands and trout and salmon habitats. He led Fish and Game New Zealand's Dirty Dairying campaign to raise awareness of water quality issues. He was part of the Walking Access Consultation Panel. Mr. Johnson ensured Fish and Game support for the Land and Water Forum's trial of a collaborative governance process, looking at improvements to land and water management. Your Excellency, to receive the insignia of an Officer of the New Zealand Order of Merit, Professor Spencer Beasley of Christchurch for services to paediatrics. Spencer Beasley is President of the New Zealand Association of Paediatric Surgeons and former President of the Australia and New Zealand Association of Paediatric Surgeons. He initiated the establishment of a specialist paediatric surgical service for the South Island. He's contributed to surgical education in his specialty and across the 9 Royal Australasian College of Surgeons RACS specialties. He's held several leadership roles with RACS. He's a former trustee of the Rainbow Children's Trust, current trustee of the Children's Cancer Research Trust, and a member of the Pacific Association of Paediatric Surgeons Board of Governors. Professor Beasley is a member of the Male Champions of Change group, made up of senior leaders committed to achieving gender equality in their organisations and fields. Ms. Nina Nawalowalo of Wellington for services to theatre and Pacific culture. Nina Nawalowalo co-founded Pacifica Theatre Company, the Conch, where she continues as artistic director. Her first play, Vula, premiered at Wellington's Bats Theatre and went on to tour nationally and internationally for 7 years. The New Zealand International Arts Festival commissioned her play Mazi, which toured to the Sydney International Festival and was the first major international work to tour to Fiji. Her recent work includes The White Guitar, which has toured domestically for 2 years with sold-out seasons. She devised the recent productions Marama and The Magicians. She's a mentor through the Emerging Artists Trust and directed The Conscious Season, a collection of 3 debut works by young performers. The British Council commissioned Ms. Nawalowalo to establish a national women's theatre company in Solomon Islands. Your Excellency, to receive the insignia of a member of the New Zealand Order of Merit, Ms. Christina Cavett of Auckland for services to youth and the community. Christina Cavett is the founder and director of the Kindness Institute, TKI, which delivers mental health, mindfulness and yoga-based programs for individuals, schools, youth who've been expelled from school, youth justice and women in prison. She delivered mindfulness and yoga programs for Ngā Rangatahi Toa, a creative initiative for marginalised youth. She founded Nuestros Pequeños Hermanos, NPH New Zealand, which supports almost 4,000 orphaned and abandoned children in Latin America. Prior to this, she lived at the NPH orphanage in the Dominican Republic for 2 years, assisting with management, education and development. Ms. Cavett has delivered numerous talks on mindful leadership, stress reduction, volunteerism, and social change. Mr. Kerry Delica of Christchurch for services to children and sports governance. As chairman of the board, Kerry Delica oversaw the rebuilding of the Chumley Children's Centre following the Christchurch earthquakes and led a fundraising campaign that saw the $6 million facility delivered debt-free. He's held a number of roles with the Buller Cricket Association. He was the Chief Financial Officer for Cricket New Zealand and General Manager of Domestic Cricket. He's a past chairman and executive member of the Canterbury Cricket Association and was the inaugural chairman of Christchurch Metro Cricket. Mr. Delica has had governance involvement with the Buller Basketball Association, Westport Golf Club and Banks Peninsula Trotting Club, and was chairman of Westport South School Board of Trustees. Mrs. Sharon Hancock of Fielding for services to pipe bands. Sharon Hancock is Education Group Leader of the Royal New Zealand Pipe Bands Association and an itinerant music teacher at Palmerston North Boys High School. She was Pipe Major of the Fielding Pipe Band and Pipe Sergeant of the Manawatu Scottish No. 2 Pipe Band. She's led bands at numerous community events, parades and civic receptions. She played a key role in the successful bid to hold the 2016 New Zealand Pipe Band Championships in Fielding. She initiated the Manawatu Tattoo event at Manfield Stadium and directed the event across 4 different years. Mrs. Hancock established the Foundation New Zealand Youth Pipe Band and is its manager-director. Your Excellency, to receive the insignia of an honorary member of the New Zealand Order of Merit. Mr. Simone Lealea of Wellington for services to Pacific communities. Sai Lealea is the chairperson of the National and Wellington Fijian Language Week Committee. He was a member of the Arts Council of New Zealand and chaired the Pacific Arts Committee. He's been chair of the Pacifica Education Centre in Auckland and the Pacific Advisory Group of Wellington City Council. He was a trustee of Arts Access Aotearoa. He's provided support to the Ministry of Foreign Affairs and Trade and other government officials on Fijian language and protocols. He served on several government Pacific advisory groups and led the development of a Fijian training program on violence prevention. Mr. Lealea contributes to a Fijian language radio program. Your Excellency, to receive the Queen's Service Medal, Ms. Heather Aitken of Reefton for services to karate. Heather Aitken teaches karate at Reefton Karate Club on a voluntary basis, in addition to her work as a nurse at Reefton Hospital and involvement in running her family's farm and gold mining operation. As a branch chief of the Reefton Dojo, she holds the rank of 5th Dan Black Belt. She's helped sponsor children's karate uniforms and travel costs to camps and tournaments, including an annual training camp in the Nelson area. She's attended overseas tournaments with Reefton Karate Club members. Mrs. Aitken has served on the boards of trustees for Inangahua Junction School and Reefton Area School. Mr. Leslie Box of Dunedin for services to the community. Les Box is a member of the Port Chalmers and District Lions Club and has held a number of leadership roles, including District Governor. He worked as a locomotive engineer for New Zealand Railways for almost 50 years. He's voluntarily organised and run fundraising train trips, organised social events and children's Christmas picnics, and supported Girls' Brigade. He's the Heads Up for Kids District Coordinator for Lions, raising funds for underprivileged youth. He led the project to develop the Lady Thorn Rhododendron Dell in Port Chalmers. Mr. Box is chairman of the Port Chalmers Town Hall Society. Mr. Peter Goodman of Nelson for services to the community. Peter Goodman joined the Nelson Garrison Brass Band in 1953. For decades, he's contributed his time to teaching young musicians and conducting in Putaruru and Nelson. He led the organising committee for the 1997 Regional Brass Band Contest in Nelson. He was a member of the Putaruru Lions Club and served as secretary and president. He's a member and former president of the Nelson North Lions. He was involved with developing the Mai Tai Sports Bowling Facility and assisted in the running of the Founders Park Museum. Mr. Goodman carried out rostered volunteer night watch Nelson patrols in conjunction with police. Mrs. Lyndon Johnson of Auckland for services to the community. Lyndon Johnson is secretary of the Point View Heritage Society and regularly volunteers to remove rubbish from the Point View Reserve. She's a lifelong member of the Royal Forest and Bird Protection Society of New Zealand, as well as editor of publications and serving committee member of the South Auckland branch. She's active in the Auckland Council Pest Liaison Group and the Department of Conservation Nelson Lakes. Mrs. Johnson is a guide for the Tiritiri Matangi Open Sanctuary and volunteers at the Howick Botany Trade Aid Store. She sat on several school boards of trustees. Mrs. Carol Long of Tauranga for services to conservation. Carol Long served 2 terms on the Executive Board and Council of the Royal Forest and Bird Protection Society of New Zealand. She established Forest and Birds Te Puke section, oversaw its development and served on its branch committee. She was a founding member of the Otani Wainuku Kiwi Trust. She helped establish the Kaimai Mamaku Conservation Park, has been involved with the protection of dotterel nesting sites, and has volunteered for the Makutu Ongatoru wetland group. Ms. Long has been involved with efforts to protect Papamoa's sand dune ecosystem and with a number of New Zealand's most prominent conservation battles. Dr. John McGettigan of Methven for services to rural health. John McGettigan has been a general practitioner in Methven for 40 years. He began as the district's sole doctor, working from a small consulting room. He drove the development of a new improved facility which now employs 5 doctors and several nurses and clerical staff. For many years, he's accepted trainee doctors in the practice for ongoing education. He's worked closely with Mount Hutt Skifields Medical Facility. Dr. McGettigan has earned a reputation for his special care to rest home residents, as a supporter of St. John, and for his work within the Catholic community. Mr. Raymond Metrick of Hastings for services to cricket. Ray Metrick founded and led the Riverbend Camp Cricket Tournament for youth from 1980 until 2002. Since then, he's been active in a wide range of programs for young cricketers. He's a founding member of the Cornwall Cricket Club and has coached 5 of the club's teams for 14 years. He's been a key driver for girls' cricket in Hawke's Bay and has coached numerous Cornwall Cricket Club girls' teams. Mr. Metrick has organised indoor cricket competitions at the Hastings Indoor Sports Arena during winter for children learning to play. Your Excellency, the investiture is concluded.
An investiture ceremony is the most important event I hold on behalf of Her Majesty, the Queen of New Zealand. It allows me, as Governor-General, to recognise and thank an extraordinary group of people on behalf of all New Zealanders. By using their talents to make ours a better society, whether by service to their communities or by their leadership in diverse fields of endeavour, or their commitment to excellence in their field of expertise, our recipients have set a fine example to others, encouraging them in their own endeavours. To the recipients, it's been a privilege to hear your stories and to understand the qualities that have enabled you to serve others, to achieve success or make an outstanding contribution in your own field. In your own way, each of you has helped to make New Zealand a better place to live. In some cases, your influence and the positive impact of your work has extended beyond our shores. Your actions and the stories we've heard reflect the spirit and the words of another great New Zealander, Sir Paul Callaghan, who said, "What greater sense of fulfilment can there be but to make a difference to the community in which you live?" Please wear your insignia with pride, knowing that your communities appreciate and value the impact of your work and are inspired by your example. Your contributions have enriched the cultural, social and economic fabric of Aotearoa, New Zealand. On behalf of the Queen and all New Zealanders, I congratulate you on your achievements and I thank you for your service to our country. Kia ora hui hui tātou katoa. Ladies and gentlemen, that almost brings to a close the formal part of today's ceremony, but before we invite you through for refreshments, I'd like you to stand and we'll sing our national anthem in Māori and in English. Thank you.